We're going to be talking about Orange Hospice's care services, and to do that, I'm joined by nurse Natt and Darlene Benavides. Did I get those right? I'm pretty close, right? Okay, thank you very much. So let's start with kind of the foundation of what hospice is. And people have misconceptions about it and things like that. So when if a loved one needs to go into hospice care, what is that all about?
Well, first, hospice is for patients with terminal conditions who wants to focus only on comfort and quality of life. Mm-hmm. And, our team, can definitely help patients and family provide care such as, spiritual, psychosocial, and also emotional support. But our ultimate goal is to make sure that we're there with the patients and family every step of the way.
Okay. So, Darlene, this is the end of treatment, so to speak. They're no longer getting, let's say it was cancer, they're no longer getting chemotherapy. There's nothing preventative, no more visits to the doctor to get the latest and greatest medicines, right? There's a certain point in which families have said, okay, we're in the end stage, and that's what happens next.
Yeah, so a lot of our patients do come on our services when the doctors do tell them, look, there's nothing more that we can do for you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We suggest, be home with your family, be comfortable, and we will refer you to hospice care. Mm-hmm. So that's when our team comes in, and we really we want to provide the patient and their families with dignity mm-hmm. and comfort in the comfort of their own homes or wherever they're residing at the time.
Right, and that's the amazing thing, I think, in terms of hospice care, is that you're not in a hospital anymore. You're not getting treatment somewhere. You're not there with people plugs and things going on all the time. Right. You're in your own home, and the care comes to you. Is that one of the things that I think people really can benefit from in their last and maybe years or months, whatever they have left, and kind of just like, I'm here, I'm home, and it feels a lot better than all the things they've been through.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what's that like when you have a patient, or you have I don't know if you can call them patients anymore, but when you have someone that is in hospice care and you're saying to them, okay, here's how it's going to go, and they kind of, is there a relief there in terms of like, okay, now you're just going to be taking care of me and making me feel comfortable?
Yeah, so again, we tell the family and patients that hospice isn't about giving up. It's about, just trying to, make sure that the comfort is there.
With hospice, our families are able to get on a routine mm-hmm. That they didn't have before, and, managing medications. Mm-hmm. There's a whole team that is involved, such as a nurse, social worker, chaplain, mm-hmm. Volunteers, even a bathing nurse that comes in to help the family and to really help them navigate. And they're not alone during this time. So as we mentioned before, hospice is not the end mm-hmm. all the time. It's giving family the support that they need during this vulnerable mm-hmm. time.
And that support looks like a lot of things, right? Sometimes it's delivery of prescriptions to the home. It's medical, like a shower chair, things like that, right? So those are things. Is there an assessment that goes on when you guys come to somebody and say, okay, here's where you're at, here's what we're going to need, and here's our plan?
Yes. So, usually I'm the one who, start the care. So I go in and I ask patients a lot of questions. So just trying to figure out what exactly they need and how can we go in and help. Mm-hmm. Is it more clinical, medical support? Is it more, spiritual support? So all those things, what, I assess, mm-hmm. doing admissions. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that assessment, with that, there comes like, here's our need plan, and as it changes, as the patient evolves in terms of maybe they start to they start to falter a little bit more, those can change, right?
Yes.
Right.
So we're bringing in medical equipment as well, mm-hmm. Incontinence supplies. Mm-hmm. We also reach out in the community mm-hmm. For resources. We do have families that come on and they don't have a caregiver in place. So that's kind of my job as a social worker, is to help find the care in place, such as, caregiver resources, volunteer resources, assisting with applying for Medi-Cal insurance, mm-hmm. assisted living waivers, reaching out to the community to see how we can help mm-hmm. Our patient and families.
Okay. Natt, I'm sure there's a lot of stories about you going into homes and then you realizing, wow, this service is really making a change in someone's life. Do you have any stories like that where you had that moment where you were like, wow, this is really something we're doing for somebody, and I'm helping these people?
To be honest, I've had a lot of stories. I think the recent one was I was on call that night, and a family had reached out to me because her mother was actively, dying at the time, and she was alone at a facility, but the patient wasn't warrant for continuous care. So what but I could hear in her voice that she was worried, she was overwhelmed, she was just, very anxious that her mom was alone. So I took the initiative. And I went there and I stayed with her throughout the night, made sure that she was comfortable, and held her hands. And then, but the next morning when her daughter came in, she was very thankful. She hugged me and she said, that meant a lot to her. And at that moment, made me realize that hospice is not about medical care; it's about human care.
And Darlene, for you, I know you help, like you said, you help people get through the process, understand these things. There's a mountain of paperwork, there's a mountain of things you have to do to make this happen, and that's the last thing someone that's going into hospice care wants to be, can even handle it all, right? So do you feel like, you're there really, you're helping them through this process so much?
Oh, definitely. As soon as a family tells me that they want to apply for other programs, such as Medi-Cal, I go in there, I bring the paperwork, I help them fill it out, I turn it in for them. Like you said, exactly, that's the last thing they want to do is fill out all this paperwork on top of all the stress that they're going through. So I like to be present with my families and patient, and anything that I can do to take a load off their back, I'm happy to do so.
And Natt, you're a nurse, obviously, who cares. What made you want to work for Orange Hospice in terms of the services they do, or how did they set themselves apart for you to say, this is the place I want to be?
I think honestly what really makes us unique is that, the love that we put behind what we do, and then just, we're always finding ways to figure out how we can better care for our patients.
Is that the approach you take? I mean, just patient first kind of philosophy in terms of how can we serve these folks?
Definitely. I feel that Orange Hospice staff, we really see our patients as humans, not just a number. And we really work as a team. People in the office, we all try to go up and beyond to give the patient what they need.
And Natt, for you, you're not waiting for doctor's orders anymore. You're not waiting for this test to come in anymore. So you have a real opportunity when you're there to kind of connect and get to know the people that you're serving in hospice, right?
Yes.
What's that like?
It's a very special moment, the fact that these patients and these families are able to trust us at the most difficult time of their life. Yeah.
So let's talk. I'll put this out to both of you guys, but I think Darlene, you're probably more qualified on this one. What is the assessment that has to go into if somebody's like, hey, I think this person might be ready for hospice, then here's what we need to do and move forward with?
To make someone qualify for hospice, we really check in with the families to see how long the patient has been going back and forth to the hospital. Have there been multiple hospitalizations, or they're going into the hospital and the hospital's not really doing anything for them anymore. So they kind of send them back home, but the families are overwhelmed because their pain is not being managed, their behavior is not being managed. So that's when hospice can be involved and help manage that.
Yeah. And so now when you walk in the door and you start that process of working with these folks, is there a sense of relief when they think what they thought hospice was going to be and what it actually is in terms of the services you guys provide?
Absolutely. And I always reassure them, hospice is not the end. It's, at any time they can always, revoke from our service and go back to seeking aggressive treatment.
But I imagine that, that's one of those things that really kind of they go back and forth with in terms of that struggle, right?
And that's why we always have to provide that ongoing, education to the patient and the family and just be as transparent as possible.
All right, folks. Well, if you want more information, go ahead and go to their website of Orange Hospice and the phone number there on the screen. I want to thank you very much for Darlene and Natt to be here and talk about this with us today.
Thank you for having us.
For having us.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.